Hi, everyone. I'm Mr. Turo, school counselor at Westboro High School. So I'm going to talk about standardized testing for a bit, just so you're prepared to take the test. So standardized test, most commonly known as the SAT and ACT, we recommend that you take them at least once before the end of your junior year and consider taking them again in the fall of your senior year. So if you take a junior year and you think you want to boost up your grade or boost up your score on the test, or if you think you'll do better a second time around, you have the option to take it again in the fall of your senior year. So again, we recommend that you take it once before the end of your junior year, and then consider taking it again in the fall of your senior year. Many students take both the SAT and the ACT. Again, that's not every student. You have to figure out what is the best situation for you, but many students do take both tests. It may be worthwhile to take a practice test for the SAT and the ACT, and then see which one you do better on and pursue that for the real test. Most colleges today are test optional, which means the test scores are not required. You're not going to be penalized for not submitting a test score. So as you build your list, consider what schools you're applying to, but then also, are they test optional? Because if they are, you won't be penalized for not submitting your test scores. If you take the test and it's a really good score and it's something that you worked hard on, that's going to boost application, you're more than welcome to send it, but it just isn't required for every school like it once was. Also, there's no more SAT, essay, or subject test, as those were eliminated from the SAT. So that is just a change from previous test. So now I'm going to focus on the different application types and timelines. So again, it's important to plan ahead to meet the deadlines. So look at the colleges and consider, are you wanting to apply early, more regular decision, which a lot of students apply in that time frame, but look at the deadlines, think of how that's going to help, how you're going to manage it all, and if you could get it done in time. Again, everyone has a different unique experience when it comes to college, so pick the deadlines that are best for you. And again, going along with that same idea, want to check each school for application deadlines, because they're all different and they're all different dates. Also, schools may have different programs or scholarships or other opportunities with different priority deadlines. So that's another thing to focus on when you're looking at schools, trying to shore up those deadlines so you don't miss any by accident. Also, the timelines may vary based on post-secondary goals and aspirations. If you're looking to apply to a community college or you're looking to apply to a gap year program, those deadlines tend to be more flexible, so you have more time to work on whatever that application may be. Again, other post-secondary pathways outside of the four-year traditional route tend to have more flexible deadlines. Another thing to be aware of when you look at colleges particularly is restrictive and non-restrictive deadlines. An example of a restrictive deadline is early decision, and also restrictive early action, which basically means you won't be able to apply to any other school's early decision if you do early restrictive action. So that's an example of an early restrictive action deadline. Again, every school has their own options, so you want to make sure you take a good look at that before you decide which schools to apply to and what deadline to meet. So kind of summarizing what I just talked about, right? You have two different types of application deadlines. You have early application deadlines, and then you have regular application deadlines. So for early application deadlines, a lot of people are going to look to early decision or early action, which is between October 15th and December 1st. And a typical deadline for early action and early decision is going to be November 1st. So again, those are early action deadlines. If you feel confident, if you feel ready to apply by those dates, by all means go for it. But there's also many more deadlines that you can apply to if you don't want to apply early for whatever reason. Again, another thing to consider is early decision is binding, early action is non-binding. So as you're looking at these deadlines, think about your options, really have a good understanding of what they are. And all this stuff can be found too in the post-secondary handbook as well. Then there's regular application deadlines. Regular decision usually starts on November 30th and runs until March 1st. This is a really popular decision for a lot of students, and this is the one that you're going to hear the most about. And the typical deadline for regular decision is January 1st. So regular decision gives you more time to think about your application, work on your application if you're not ready to apply by early decision or early action. And again, everyone has their own process. It's unique to every single student. So the deadline and the decision is going to depend on what feels right for you. There's no right or wrong answer. The last one that I want to mention is rolling admission. So rolling admission is open throughout the college application process. You can apply whenever, essentially. Once you submit your application, universities will be able to see it. Again, we encourage you to apply by January 1, but this allows you to work at your own pace and your own timeline. A good thing about applying January 1 or as early as you can is the schools will see your application before other applicants. So it could get you a leg up in that scenario. Also consider community colleges. A lot of community colleges allow you to register for classes throughout the spring and summer before the fall. And also for other gap year related programs, the deadlines are going to vary. So it's important to conduct your own research. I know for me, I did City Year as a gap year program, and I applied in January, but those deadlines go all the way for City Year particular until May. So you want to do your own research and see when are these deadlines for these programs, because they do vary by program. Next, I want to briefly talk about the application list. So it's important here that you keep a balanced list of reaches, targets, and safety schools. That you want to make sure you keep your list manageable because it is a very stressful process and you want to avoid burnout. And after you're talking with family, teachers, school counselor, you could figure out what list is right for you. But it's important to keep that list manageable and really shoot for schools that you're invested in and that you think would be a good fit for you. I like to say there's not necessarily a good school in the traditional sense. A good school is one that is a good fit for you and has the programs and the resources that are going to allow you to succeed. And there's so many good schools out there with so many good programs that you'll find your right fit eventually, wherever that may be. Also, when you're building your list, you can utilize scattergrams on Naviance. That will help you define your list more into those different categories of reach, target, and safety, and help you find that balance in your list. Also, it's important to consider financial, also local safety schools. It's again unique to everyone. Every student goes through this process differently. Every student weighs different factors. So just when you're making a list, think about those factors and what's most important to you. What's going to make that school a good fit for you and advance whatever you decide to do past college. So to finish off, I just want to talk about some upcoming dates to keep on your radar. So pretty soon you're going to receive in an email next steps for scheduling course selection and junior meetings. So those are going to be sent out relatively soon. That's going to give you more information about the meetings and what to expect. There's also college rep visits coming to Westboro High School in person and in virtual and virtual for juniors throughout March and April. So keep a lookout for those. Also in March and May, we're going to have open labs, which is going to be a tremendous opportunity for students to work with the counselors on college and career research tools. If there's any questions that you have before heading into the summer, that's going to be a fantastic opportunity for you to have those questions answered and to get additional support. Lastly, we're going to have individual student and counselor meetings. Again, the focus in these meetings is you. It's going to be student focused and student led. That's going to be a time for us to build those relationships with you and start to build that relationship that's going to help you when it comes to writing letters of rec and so on. Also, it's important that you come with any questions and any ideas about what your plan may be, even though you may not have it figured out. If you come with a plan, or at least an outline of a plan, it's going to help us work through that with you during the actual meeting. So thank you very much for listening, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Wilson for questions.